Good morning, everyone. As I sit here in the morning I'm drinking tea. It seems good to drink something hot when you're either cold or looking out at the cold. I'm looking outside. I got my window open. It is not freezing outside, but it is cool. I don't want to be out there. It'll warm up this afternoon. It's that time of year. We're not out of winter yet. We're still working on it. And we could get, the way the weather is, you never know. I've seen snow in May. My dad, I'd like to tell stories, so we got another one. My dad loved hunting and fishing and outdoors. And he organized a fishing party. It was like 7 families. Everybody drove to a remote lake in northern Nevada someplace. I don't remember the lake, how to get there. Somewhere north of Winnemucca. That's an Indian name and I don't remember what it means. But anyhow, we had to go up a dirt road up to the top to get to this little lake. There's lots of fish in it because people don't go to that unless you know about it. Well, we picked Memorial Weekend. Hot. So it was cooler up at the top. The desert's down on the bottom. And as we stopped to say hello to the ranchers on the way, they warned us, don't go up there this weekend. The weather's not looking good. We should have listened to the locals who know what they're talking about. My dad had his big, heavy-duty 3/4 ton pickup with power winch and all that stuff on it. And he had a camper on the back. And he's driving up this hill with this camper. So he gets everybody up there. We have a good night the first night. One guy set up a giant circus tent. Not the big 3-ring stuff, but one big enough for his family to set up inside. And he had like 4 or 5 people with him. And there were other trailers and campers and stuff. It was a pretty good deal, and we managed to get a little bit of fishing in at the end, and a few people caught, would have been trout. So it was a good time the first night. The next day it started clouding up. It started getting cold. Didn't come out a whole lot because the wind was blowing and it was cold. Didn't get any fishing in. And we got 2 feet of snow that night in summer. Needless to say, it took us a long time to get out of there. If you were towing something, you had to leave it. My dad had to leave his camper. Couldn't get out with it on. It was snowy. 4-wheel drive, barely getting through snowy. And we get on down the mountain. It took a long time. It was like a 7-mile ride to go back in there. It literally took all the next day to get out. We got on down the hill following, each vehicle follows in the ruts of the previous vehicle, so you've got some steering control, forcing you to follow the path. We get down to the bottom. The snow was melting quickly. This was the next day. By the time everybody got going, it was probably, 8 or 9 o'clock. And there was a bog in the bottom. A number of people tried to get through it. My dad was the only one that was able to get through it with his big knobby tires on. And he's a good driver. He got all the way through the bog part at the very bottom, and then it went back up a little rise, so we got out of it. You just had to get through that, but nobody could. He turned the pickup around, faced his winch towards the other vehicles, went out and drove a steel spike, like 6 foot long, into the ground, tied off to it as a dead man, and then winched all these vehicles through. And there were 7 or 8 vehicles, I don't remember exactly, but got through there. Kitty is here, and he just ran up here and bit me. Go on. I let him do his zoomies, and he's done with that, but he had to still come over here and say hello. So anyhow, 1, pay attention to what locals say, and 2, pray about everything, because you don't know what you're getting into. We got everybody out, but it took like 12 hours to get everybody out. Okay, so I wasn't sure what to title this, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to title this. I'm thinking of trying to fight back a little bit because YouTube's fighting me. I'm not getting the views that I should be getting. So I'm going to do what I normally don't like to do, and that's clickbait. The rapture is not in the Bible, I think, is what I'm going to title this. My alternate title was Have It Your Way. Slogans or sayings that are not correct. But I think I'm going to add Rapture is not in the Bible, so that way I get all the people that see the word rapture and want to know what day is it? When are we going? Can we pack today? So, most slogans are a sales pitch or something to get you to remember whether it's music. I remember the Marlboro song. The guy's riding out on the horse and they're playing the song, and I can't give you the tune. But I was reminded of it a number of times because the captain on my destroyer that I was on in the Navy used that song whenever they came into port. He'd be playing it on the loudspeakers, announcing that we were arriving. But it was essentially a slogan. And of course, you are aware that the Marlboro man who smoked died of lung cancer. Yes, no fooling with God in these things. Of course, cigarettes are a gift from the devil. If you're addicted, I've never smoked, but I still understand addiction. Try to quit. Do everything you can. Okay, so most slogans are probably from the devil or indirectly, but they're not good things to say or think about it. Since I'm old, I go all the way back to the 60s. There was a slogan created called "Turn on, tune in, and drop out." I have trouble saying that, so I had to slow down. But basically, turn on, do your drugs, tune into yourself. What's out here doesn't help you. Tune into yourself and drop out of society. Just drop out of everything. Don't have anything to do with anybody, because the world sucks, and we want to find our own little peace. Well, where did that come from? Well, that was popularized by Timothy Leary. I don't know if you know the name, but he was a counterculture era writer. And he spoke that phrase when he was at it wasn't a love-in, but it was a human be-in. There were 30,000 hippies gathered in San Francisco at the Golden Gate Park there. Beautiful park used to be. San Francisco used to be a very beautiful city. I've visited many times and actually lived there for a few months. Beautiful. But of course, the devil has destroyed it. In getting to our Have It Your Way, that was a slogan created by Burger King in 1974. They were competing with McDonald's. Cookie cutter, just stomp, stomp, boom, boom. Here you go, here's your hamburger. Boom, next one, here's your hamburger. 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Another slogan to get you to remember the Big Mac. I didn't read that. That's still stuck in here. That was a very good marketing ploy. So, the Burger King slogan was, a time again, starting in the 60s and the 70s, self-expression. Mass, the article that I read said customization, but mass propaganda, mass instruction. They came up with that. You won't find that in the Bible because God doesn't cook that way. So let's just look at a couple of verses here on how God wants us to look at things, and then we'll continue. Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Don't turn into yourself. Turn into God. Listen to what He has to say. If you don't hear Him, the Bible speaks loudly. If you can't hear God either internally or externally, read the Bible. He talks to us there. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. No wandering around back and forth like they wandered through the desert. That was symbolic. They just kind of did one of these things through the desert. They couldn't go north. They couldn't go back where they came from. And they had the sea on the side. They couldn't go that way. So they wandered. You got 1 million people camped in the desert. You got to pick up and move every once in a while. I imagine the smell would get pretty bad. Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. The Lord works out everything to its proper end. He even works out the wicked for a day of disaster in the near future. The Lord detests all the proud of heart. And finally here, Isaiah 55:6. Seek the Lord while you can find Him. Call on Him while He is near. Let the wicked change their ways and banish the very thought of doing wrong. Don't you even think of that? I've seen that as a sign. You could have a choice of no parking here, or put up a sign that says, don't even think of parking here. That actually worked better. Let them turn to the Lord that He may have mercy on them. Okay, so don't let modern culture and their phrases influence you too much. Things are done for marketing. Purely for marketing. The image that we have of Santa Claus, the red and white suit, was a marketing ploy by Coke. All the graphics were going color, switching from black and white to color at that time. And that was a big, bright, colorful character. Handing out free gifts, they wanted you to associate that with McDonald's. Now that destroyed a lot of kids' lives because Santa Claus up until that time was just Saint Nick, and he was a legitimate priestly man of the past who handed out food and stuff to kids. But the devil distorted it. Whether it's advertising or just slogans, God helps those who help themselves. Where can you find that in the Bible? I think it's in Perversion 3:7. Yeah. Well, an English theorist, Algernon Sidney, originated the phrase when he was doing his writing, but it was apparently copied and used by Benjamin Franklin in Poor Richard's Almanac. That would have been in 1736. So, God helps those who help themselves. Benjamin Franklin is the one we're most familiar with. And like I have in the title, Rapture is not in the Bible. You get that a lot. Well, it's not in the English Bible, but it is in the Latin Bible, a variation of it, rapturo. The Greek word is haprazo. It means caught up. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. It's still there. We're being caught up. Western art typically has shown the fruit that Eve ate and gave to Adam as an apple. So we think apples is a potentially bad fruit. But in reality, the Bible doesn't say that. It doesn't say that it was an apple. It just simply says that she ate a fruit and shared it with Adam. I think you can find that in Genesis 3:6, early part of Genesis. Another phrase, money is the root of all evil. Close but no cigar. It's often quoted, but it's misquoted. 1 Timothy 6:10 actually says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And finally, the phrase, this too shall pass. We'll get to the most recent famous one in a second, but after being fired by the Chicago Bears, football coach Mike Ditka told the gathering media, this too shall pass. But that's not a scripture. Everyone basically is used to hearing something from the Bible, but that's not it. King James Version in 2 Corinthians 4:17. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen, are temporary. But the things which are not seen are eternal. So things are temporary. This too shall pass. But the greatest quote of that was from Gandalf. You shall not pass. An iconic scene, watching the beloved old gray wizard die, supposedly. I know the movies are fiction, people. I like The Lord of the Rings. I like Harry Potter. Very good fictional writing. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, written as a parallel to the story of Jesus. So you can use good fiction and bad fiction to tell stories. The bottom line is be careful where you get your phrases from, your slogans. All right, that's all I have for today. Some of these are just kind of fun to do, and especially when you get to reminisce about things. What you doing, kitty? He's still trying to bite me. No. He's biting. No biting. Kitty. I'd let you say goodbye, but you'd bite me to do that, so you're going to just have to stay down there. Okay, until we meet in the clouds, God bless.